What's up, Nachi? How you doing? Happy Thursday. What's up, Miss Joy? Hey, Tristan. How you doing? How's everybody? What's up, Bridget? How you doing? I hope everybody's doing all right, man. Hey, Renee. How you doing? Hey, Layla. I hope everybody's doing all right today. Give everybody a chance to get in. Give everybody a chance to join us. What's up, Miss Samantha? Happy Thursday to you. Happy Thursday to you. Yeah. Come on in, y'all. Let's talk. Come on in, let's talk. Hey, Miss Perline. Isabel, how are you, darling? I hope you're doing well. Hey, Miss Margaret. Hey, Shanta. How y'all doing? If you see me looking away from you, I'm looking at the other platform, so don't feel like I'm getting distracted uh, from you. Hey, Miss Maddie. How you doing, man? We're going to give everybody a second to get with us. Give everybody a second to get with us real quick. Um, she's in surgery right now. Okay, we'll lift her up to the Lord, man. We'll make sure and lift her up to the Lord. Ask God's blessings upon her surgery. God's got her. God's taking care of her. He's taking care of her. Let me say this to all of us. And here's what, especially right now, with everything that's going on, here's what we have to remember. We got to remember that God is still in control. You got to always keep that in mind, that the Lord is still in control. That God is the supreme ruler. The God we serve is the supreme being. And no matter what's going on around us, no matter what's happening in our lives, never ever forget that He is in control. That's right. He sits high and He looks low. He knows and sees. Hey, Miss Leona. He knows and sees everything that's going on. Never forget that. And the reason why that's important is because when things are out of your control, it's good to know that you serve the one who is in control. That you serve the one who is ruler over all. And so never forget that. You know, I saw, and I, like many of you, was upset at what I saw on yesterday regarding this young lady in Kentucky who was killed, who quite frankly was murdered. And when you see stuff like that, it can, if you're not rooted and grounded, it can jar your faith. It can make you wonder, Lord, what's going on? Lord, what's happening? And the thing that you got to remember is God's ways are not our ways. His thoughts are not our thoughts. God knows what he's doing, even when we don't know what he's doing. He's still in control, and he's still working behind the scenes to cause all things to come together. Now watch this. Here's the other side of it, though. Y'all ready for this? God is working. There's no question about that. Oftentimes, the question is, are we working? The question is, are we doing what we need to do? God's going to do what he needs to do. The question is, are we doing what we need to do? Now watch this. What we're facing in this day and age, I hear people say the system isn't working. Y'all listen to me. The system is working perfectly fine. It's working according to design. I'm going to say it again. The system is working perfectly fine. It's working according to design. The system is doing what the system is designed to do. And so what you have to do is you got to work within the system in order to bring about necessary change. I put a post up this morning about how it's the law. Listen to me, y'all. It's the law. It's the law. That's why I say the system is doing exactly what it's designed to do. So when is change gonna come? I hear people saying that. When is change gonna come? I'll tell you when change is gonna come. I'm not a prophet, never pretend to be a prophet, but I know when change is gonna come. Change is gonna come when we enact change. Change is gonna come when we make change. Change is gonna come the same way it did for slavery, the same way it did for the civil rights movement. Yep, the same way it did for all of the other struggles. It came when we decided that enough is enough, and get this, whatever the cost, we're gonna do what we gotta do in order to bring about change. Listen to me, please. Hear me when I say this. People say that folks respond to the light. But my dad has always told me and has always taught us that people don't respond to the light. We sit around and we wait for people to see the light. But listen to me. People, the light don't motivate anybody to change. The light doesn't motivate anybody to move. The light doesn't motivate anybody to do what they need to do. The heat from the light, that's what motivates folks. It ain't the light that make people change. It's the heat coming from the light. And oftentimes what we do is we sit around and wait for folks to see the light. No, like my daddy say, the light ain't gonna make them change. Ain't no light gonna make them change. It's gotta be some heat coming from that light. What kind of heat, Pastor? How we have got? Well, let me tell you what kind of heat don't work. Killing law enforcement officers is the kind of heat that does not work. Come on, somebody. Destroying property is the kind of heat that does not work. Tearing up communities is the kind of heat that does not work. That's not what gets it done. That ain't the kind of heat. Oh, that's somebody said. I heard somebody saying they were 100% correct. A riot is the tantrum of the oppressed. It's a tantrum. And what do you know about a tantrum when a kid throws a tantrum? At some point, they're going to get tired of throwing the tantrum. And then it's going to be over with. So watch this. What kind of heat? I'll tell you what kind of heat. See, you got to know how to fight what you're fighting. And the way to fight what we're fighting is not by rioting, not by killing law enforcement officers. All that does is enable what we're fighting and the people that we're fighting and the system that we're fighting. All that does, that's right, it's a distraction, and it enables them to say, see there, I told you they were lawless. See there, I told you they don't do things right. See there, that's why it's happening to them, because they don't want to follow the law. So what do we do, Pastor? I'll tell you what we do. We do it the same way generations before us did, and the same way that change got affected. We got to put people in office who will change the law. The system is doing exactly what it's designed to do. We got to put people in office who will change the system, who won't say, well, that's the law, but who will change the law so that it becomes a law that applies equally and equitably to everybody involved. You got to put people in office who will change the law so that when something like this happens, people can be held accountable. And please hear me on this. No one is saying, nobody in their right mind is saying that, let me say it like this. It's not, stop saying get rid of law enforcement. That's the craziest thing I ever heard in my life. Don't y'all buy into this junk about defunding law enforcement. We need law enforcement. We need law enforcement. Well, okay, it's not defunding law enforcement. All right, here's what it is. It's having accountability, get this, in the law that's going to hold law enforcement accountable when they make actions like this. That's what we got to have. We have to have accountability. Watch this. If they have immunity when they do something like this in the law, then guess what? Folks can say, ain't nothing we can do about it. But when the law says, if your actions are egregious, even as a law enforcement officer, when the law says that you'll be held accountable for your negligence, when the law says you'll be held accountable for not distributing justice equitably, now what'll happen is you have a law that you can charge people with violating. But right now, you don't have that. That's the problem. And what we keep doing is we keep going for the carrot. We keep going for what they're dangling over here. You got to fight the law. Watch this. I'm going to show you something, okay? We keep saying it's the president. Y'all hear me on this. You fighting the wrong thing. You're paying attention to the wrong thing. Everybody's paying attention to the president. And yes, that's an important position. But here's the deal. Y'all hear me, please. The president is not the one who makes the law. Congress is. And for many of us, when we go to that booth, if we go to that booth, we don't even pay attention to who we're voting for Congress. And they're the ones who make the law. Here's the other thing. I'm going to share this with you. It's not the national. It's the state and local that mainly affects things like this. And yet, when the state and the local comes up, you always have a lower voter turnout for state and local elections. And yet, that's the one that affects us most, the ones that affects us most. It's the state and the local. It's the Congress. It's the senator. It's the representative. They are the ones who make the law. Get it? Go back to school, y'all. That's why it's called the legislative branch. They make the law. So, man, I want to encourage you to research. I want to encourage you to look at. I want to encourage you to educate yourself. And then here's the other deal, and I'm done with it from here. Okay? Here's the other deal. We got to do just like our forefathers did. Y'all listen to me. We got to do just like they did. They didn't just go to the polls. They took their crew to the polls. They wasn't going to the polls by themselves. The whole family was going to the polls. Mama and daddy was grabbing anybody over 18 years old who was eligible to vote. Grandmama was taking anybody over 18 who was eligible to vote. The going to the polls wasn't a private affair. Getting in the booth was, but everybody was going to the polls. And here's what you got to do. You can't make up in your mind that you're going to vote. You can't make up in your mind that you're going to the polls. You got to make up in your mind that you're dragging everybody you can with you. You got to make up in your mind that everybody in my house, everybody I have influence with outside of my house, you got to go get those kids who are younger